What's up everyone, we're back with another boss kill. This time we're talking about Malygos 10-man, which I jumped into a pug late last night and had a crack at it. We got the kill. It was a two-shot actually. First one was fairly close, we actually all died to the static field, but then the second time had that one locked down and I decided to int instead. So you can look forward to seeing that one at the very end. Just briefly going to touch on some of the things I noted as a Shadow Priest on this very first kill. It's not the cleanest by any stretch, and there's definitely things I'm looking at here and I can say, well, I can improve upon that in, say, Malygos 25 or the re-kill of this mode this time next week. Major thing obviously being the Vortex, that downtime. I think it's best place to use your Disperse there, just because you're going to get interrupted a fair bunch. So if you don't have your dots up, you don't have any instant cast, be it Devouring Plague needs refreshing, or Shadow Word Death is already on cooldown, then that's a fantastic time to get that mana as topped up and healthy as possible, which actually would have been quite handy given that going into phase 2 with the amount of adds that are flying around in the sky, to have that extra mana would have been a huge boost. In terms of a couple of the core mechanics, I mean, this is obviously the fundamental one, which is great for us as ranged. Another reason why we are better than the melee, as we can kill these power sparks, stand inside that lightning zone, and receive a rather nice 50% damage boost. Apart from that, really it is rinse and repeat. Don't stand in front of the boss, that's the only other major mechanic, right? Which we're never really going to be victim to anyway, just because they're AoE Cone Breath. Back into the sky, taking that AoE, taking damage. Hence why Disperse also just finds infinite value, just helping out on multiple fronts. And then you're going to take that damage when you fall too, which we mitigate by using Levitate. So obviously mages can do the same. Makes life easy on the healers. But we're just pushing as much as we can. So a second set of rotation for the power sparks. Get back in that zone. This one actually spawns really nicely so the melee can get amongst it, which is happy days for them. And with that zone still lingering, they actually at this point in the fight decide, let's just burn lust and nuke the boss down as much as we can, which is good because coming into phase 2 he becomes untargetable. The priority then becomes all about the adds, and once those adds do fall on down, that's when it pushes it into that third and final phase, which is why having cooldowns, why using literally everything at your disposal is the most imperative here, because you won't actually have to use your character anymore from that point onwards. So having the mana, having the resources, having the damage, and just making sure you can survive, right, by running into these magic domes is the name of the game. She was a bit of a roughie at the end there, running super dry on the mana, but we got through it in the end, managed to push it into the final phase, and we still did a lot of damage. I mean, quickly checking in with that DPS meter, we've put the other ranged casters in the bin and represented the Shadow Priest pretty well. Now into the sky we go, and we all become a group of drakes, much like the Oculus, and much like this daily that you can do here in Caldera. If you're unfamiliar with the sort of mechanics, the optimal way, I suppose, to deal damage to Malygos in this final phase, then I would definitely advise doing that quest and getting yourself familiar. But yeah, the ideal rotation would be just to build up 2 combo points, spend that on your burn, rinse, repeat, get done with the fight, get yourself out of the raid, get your loot, get yourself onto something else, and continue to have some fun here in Waddle K Classic. But I play a little bit safe. I go for the 5 combo point spend. It just gives the burn a little bit longer of a duration. It just makes it very hard to fail with that burn ever dropping off. But it's certainly not the best way to approach it if you want the most damage. You'll see other people in this group manage to reach a higher amount of stacks than myself. Not really much more to say in this fight though. It is fairly straightforward. You're just constantly going to the left, keeping those stacks up, playing the minigame with those burns, and just waiting until the boss falls down. At which point I did drop down to the 2 stacks to try and be optimal with the damage, but you know what I wasn't optimal with? Was using a defensive. I have not used a flame shield. I've had an absolute mare here, using Disperse for good measure, because look guys, I am a DPS player, I am not smooth-brained, and I am protecting myself. But you know what, we're leaning back in the chair, looking at the recount meter and saying it feels good to do the most damage. So I feel like that death is justified. Show me the money, show me the achievement. Floor POV, it does not matter.